there.
Hi, welcome back to Curious Collection. I'm Will.
I'm Cinnamon.
Today we're going to talk about our experience with eBay standard promoted listings, where this has come for us, where we're currently at, and why it is that we use the program. And this isn't really a judgment as to whether it's right or wrong. We don't necessarily like it. I think anytime I give money away from my business, it is going to have some form of impact on my business.
Sure, it hurts. For real. That's just life. It hurts to give anything at all.
So we started using promoted listings, just promoted listing standard. eBay gets paid when they make a sale. And I think that personally for us is the right way to go about it. I'm not going to pay you per click because you can control traffic driven to my store. You can control the traffic driven to my items. So you know that you're going to get rewarded if you drive that traffic, but you are not committed to making it sell.
Right.
So we do use the promoted listings standard. So eBay gets paid if the item sells. And I think that results-oriented business is important. If you bring me results, I will reward you. So last month, February 2024, our total eBay sales were $8,783 on our main store. We do promote every item in the store, 12,000 plus items, all at the same promoted rate. Now, that may be a problem. Maybe we should be doing more variable pricing. Maybe we should be looking at each individual category and putting some up and putting some down and playing with it. But when we first started doing this, we picked a number that we were comfortable with and said, this is it. This is as much as I'm comfortable with. And that's what we do. And some of the items that we sell are rare. Some of them are one of a kind.
Yeah, I know some people tell us not to promote those rare items because, there's no point, because if someone's looking for it, then they're going to click it. But again, for simplicity's sake, we just picked a number and that's what we run with.
Right. So I know that there's a lot of people that have experimented with ending and trying to just not do promoted, or they've never got on the bandwagon for promoted. And I can appreciate that people want more data because I don't feel like eBay has really given us the data set to really understand where those dollars are going, how they're using that.
Right. They don't tell you
how effective it really is.
In fact, they tell you that they'll promote how they want to promote, and
depending on the item, depending on the category.
Right. But they don't tell you this is what your dollars are going to give you. It just says you pay us, and then we'll figure out how to make it work for us.
Right. So obviously there is some challenges here. We have some animosity here. I don't want you to think that we are brainwashed into this program, but we are strong-armed into it. This is something that we have found we had to do. So June 2022, we were way on the bandwagon way early. I know there's people currently trying to figure out how to make this work without doing promoted listings. We dropped promoted listings the first of the month, June 2022. We ran that the entirety of the month. Our sales were cut in half. We had no promoted listings. We had no organic listing sales. Just nothing was selling. We had been at $4,000. We went down to $2,000. Incredibly painful. And that was it. Learn your lesson, get back on the bandwagon, and go back to promoting.
Yeah.
So that was then, this is now. We talked about that last month. We did $8,783 in sales. Promoted listings accounted for $5,786 in sales. So had we not been promoting, we would have only had $3,000 in total sales. Promoted listings accounts now for 64.5% of our total sales.
What do you do when the numbers aren't this is the numbers? These are the numbers that we have. So if eBay is saying if you're only organic, then we're only going to give you 35% of your sales, we can't live off of 35% of our sales.
So when we did our big update video on Monday, we talked about the fact that, we run a 50% business. 50% goes to promoted listings, advertising, all of the input costs of the product, shipping. We end up profiting 50%. So 50-50. And that includes our promoted listing fees that we pay. So we're at 50-50. Losing $5,700 equates to $2,893 in profit for our business.
Yeah. So that's, again, those are massive numbers for us. We couldn't do this without those funds. We just couldn't. We couldn't support our household.
Right. So you're talking about almost $2,900 in sales in profit because we're doing promoted listings. So promoted listings, I checked the dollars, the actual amount of money that we paid. Now, keep in mind, just because the item has a promotion on it doesn't mean that you pay the promoted listing fee. You only pay it if the person clicked on a promoted listing ad and bought it, or clicked on a promoted listing ad, came back to your store later and bought something else or that same item within 30 days. So that, honestly, somebody clicking on something, coming back to your store, for us, that's really rare. That doesn't typically happen unless we've extended them an offer or some other type of discount. Once they click away from your item, they're gone forever, at least as far as I'm concerned. Unless they're, a viewer or, someone who's, more loyal to your store, or maybe you have a product that you're the only one that offers. Most of the time, if they click away, they're gone. So our promoted listing fees that we paid in February was $349.38. Yes, $350 is a significant amount of money.
Sure.
Last week I was complaining because they increased our final value, our transaction fee, by 10%, which works out to be $500 a year. And I'm saying that this $349 is a
worthwhile investment.
Is worth the while, right?
Right.
So what's the difference? Well, it's all semantics, right? It's still another fee. It's still costing you money. The difference is that 10 cents was something that I wasn't paying before, and I'm getting nothing new in exchange for that.
And I think that's really important, because I know that a lot of people are very upset about the promoted listings, because eBay used to promote your listings and they didn't make you pay extra. But unfortunately, like corporate America, they're gonna give you less and make you pay more. And that sucks. Like, wholeheartedly, we agree.
We see that universally, is that everything in the marketplace costs more, you get less. We were even talking about our car, right? We had bought the same model car, but it was like 6-7 years older, and everything was more durable. We never, like the problems that we've had with our newer car, it's like plastic and it just literally it falls apart. You're driving down the road and the part falls off the car. I mean, absolutely incredible that's where we are. Right. Is your car is falling apart as you're driving it. And, I feel like, Primo talked about it last week or 2 weeks ago, the enshittification, and that, like, basically this is the corporate cash grab of America, is that you're getting less, you're paying more, and they're happy over it. Right. And you should be happy too. And I'm not saying that I'm happy about the situation with promoted listings. I'm saying that this is mandatory for us now. Yeah. If we don't have the full amount of sales, we don't have a business. Right. And the thing is, when you look at it from, like, if you step back and you say, okay, if I had a brick and mortar store instead of an online store, what would I have to pay for advertising? And the thing is, you would, right? You would put ads in the local newspaper. You would put a commercial on the TV. You'd have one of those wacky wavy arm guys. You would do things to advertise your store and your wares. You would have the
the postcards that you throw in the mail, right? To incentivize people to come to your store to check it out. There's all kinds of things that you would have to do in the advertising category. And unfortunately, eBay is making us eat those costs now. They're saying if you want to advertise, you're going to have to pay for it.
Right. Yeah. You know, we were talking about different things. The guy that stands on the road and twirls the sign, that's not free. You know, you talk about $349. You're not going to get somebody to stand on the street for $349 and spin a sign all day.
Yeah.
For, you know, the entirety of a month. And then the question is the guy spinning the sign going to generate $5,000 in revenue?
Right.
Probably not.
When you're looking at the actual numbers and you're saying, okay, so for $350, we earned a profit of $200 or $2,900. Well, as much as it sucks, like the numbers aren't lying, you know, and unfortunately, nobody wants to pay more money, but we need the sales. You know, and these are just, you know, the numbers that we're looking at. And like he said, he tried to turn it off and it wasn't a viable option for our business. If we lose more than half of our sales, we can't do this.
If you look at the amount of money that we pay for every dollar in sales, it's $16.57 for every sales dollar. For every ad dollar. So, you know, honestly, I don't love the system. I know eBay claims that 80% of sellers love it, but only 10% use it. 1%, or, you know, 10% of their listings have it. They can come up with whatever statistic they want to justify their behavior. The reality is in our business, and that, yes, we are spending. For every dollar, we get $16 in return. I will make that every day. I will go with that every day.
And online, because I know they took away the online ads as well, and now they want to make you pay for the online ads. And we did try that, and that we found
was garbage.
Yeah,
$3 in sales for every $1 that you pay.
And for that margin, it doesn't make sense for our business.
So, and you know, I don't want to go off on a crazy tangent, but part of this promoted listing standard is they stick your ad underneath other people's products on their landing page.
No, and I don't like that either.
So again, I don't like it because I don't know how much traffic people are stealing from me either.
And I don't want to steal traffic from somebody else who finally got a buyer onto their buy page, and now they're going, oh well, we have something that's even cheaper or more affordable or whatever, and like that's just skeezy. I don't like that. I'm not gonna put my ad on, you know, the back of a Walmart bathroom. That's not the way that it works, you know. Right.
So, you know, I think that I just wanted to share our experience because I do see people that are putting out content about how they're dropping promoted listings and or resisting promoted listings. And
I get it.
And I absolutely understand. $350 that's all profit.
Right.
That $350, if we were still getting the sales, would be profit in our pockets at the end of the month. And because of the way that the system's rigged, you're getting hijacked for an extra $350.
That's real.
If you want your sales. But that's the game. You know, that's the game. It's pay to play. Everyone out there knows it. I don't think that there's any secrets about this. If you eliminated promoted listing standard, you eliminated people putting their product under your product, undercutting you on price, we'd probably all go back to getting the normal sales that we were getting before.
Yeah. But unfortunately, that's just not the way it works anymore.
Right.
You know, and we need to have our sales.
Right.
We just have to. Otherwise, we can't continue. And I'm going to have to work outside the home and our entire life changes.
Yeah. And this is one of those things that, you know, a lot of the people that we talk to, that we interact with on here, or that we talk to outside of the, you know, the reselling domain of just online sales, they're part-time. They're doing this as a hobby. They're doing this as side income, as a gig work or a hustle. And that's great if that works for you.
Right.
And, if you're okay with, 50% or 40% of the total sales, that's okay too. I absolutely understand that. For us, this is a lifestyle. It's our full-time work. And, if I walked into the local retailer and took over that CEO position, told everybody they're taking a 50% pay cut, people are going to get upset. So, that's kind of how I look at it, is what would this look like if it was in a brick and mortar? No one's going to stand around and take a 50% pay cut.
Right.
People are going to begrudgingly take a 2%, 5%. 8%. I mean, and that's really what we're talking about here, is you're taking a pay cut so that you can continue your way of life. Honestly, if we were in a position where the sales weren't coming in, I'm not going to continue to be a reseller to do it part-time. I did that for a while when we first started this business, but I don't need to work 70 hours a week. I really don't. Like, that's really the cutoff for me, is like, if I have to pay, 3, 5, 7, 10% in promoted listing fees in order to justify the sales, in order to get the money, unfortunately, that's what you got to do. They twisted our arms.
Right. Because I mean, it sucks. It really does. But unfortunately, it is the way of eBay now. And again,
a lot of the other platforms have taken over the same model because they see it is.
Well, again, and you had said that, like, what is it? Not Pinterest, but one of the ones, has a mandatory 20%. Yeah. So
if you do over $10,000 in sales, you have a mandatory 20% promoted listing fee.
Yeah, that's harsh.
Right.
That's
so
super
again,
harsh.
like, that right there for us is enough to not go on that platform.
Yeah.
Because you're talking about your normal fees plus 20%. So, yeah, not going to go there. Plus, I'm not going to make this about Etsy, but they also charge you to list each item every month, and I'm not paying for that either. So we do have a store on. We do have we do have the login. We've sold stuff on the platform, but I just don't like that. I just don't like it. So why don't you guys tell us what you think about promoted listings? Do you use it? What percentage of your sales is coming from promoted listings? You should probably know, hopefully what your profit margin is. So what's your ROI?
Where do you find that information? I'm curious to find out what percentage of your sales are promoted.
So if you go to your sales tab, it will show you, you can do your month over month. It'll show you what your total sales are. And then you can see what your selling costs are on there. I pulled this information from a couple of different things. So if you scroll down into your all sales, there's a promoted listing tab on the eBay performance. It'll show you how much of your sales are coming from promotions versus non-promoted. So that's an easy way. They've already got the numbers there for you. When it comes to profitability, you need to know what your input costs are. And so you're going to take your input cost and basically divide that out to figure out what your profit is. So
again, we talk about needing to know your numbers. This would be a really great opportunity for you to take a look at your numbers and see what your costs are, see what your, so that you can make an educated decision.
Yeah, I think before you do either things, you need to know what you're working with.
Right. Don't just go all willy-nilly. Like, today you're going to completely shut off promotions and tomorrow you're going to promote it 25% and like breathe.
Right. We need to know what we're working with.
Right.
We make decisions in a rational, justified manner. So again, if we see a 50% drop in our sales, then clearly we know that there was a problem there.
Right.
If we see, if we could increase our promoted listing by 2% and double our sales, well, clearly that would be worth it. So when you start getting into like these like odd numbers, if you don't have it on a spreadsheet, or if you haven't done the paperwork on the back of a piece of paper, then what do you really have? You know,
right.
You're just kind of hunting around.
Don't go by the feels, because your feelings are not trustworthy sometimes.
That's
I swan, because there are days that I'm like, we are just doing crap, that we're not making it. We're not doing this. It's a bad sales day.
Right.
You know, and then you go and you pull the numbers and you're like, oh, we are totally making our numbers. It's it's just the feels. So don't go on your feels, because your feelings are not trustworthy. Right. You know, our cha-ching turns off at 9 o'clock. So when we get any like nighttime sales, we don't get that dopamine hit. So, you know, those sales don't count. So, you know, again, don't trust your feelings.
Right. Looking at our graph, Monday was a terrible day for us. We had 0 organic sales. 0. The only sales we managed to get, we did $75 in sales.
It was so bad.
And 100% of them were from promoted. And honestly, those are the days that it stings, is when you just don't get any sales at all.
Yeah.
So that's my thought. Let us know what your thoughts are. Let us know what's working for you, what's not working for you. What percentage of your profit is allocated to promoted listings? Tell us you hate promoted listings. I mean, I don't know that anybody loves it.
Right. I think you're right there. If we didn't have to, I'm sure that we wouldn't be doing it either. But again, if we had a brick and mortar, we'd have to spend some money on advertising.
Right. We have had some flea market booths, and just waiting for the flea market to promote and advertise for your product doesn't work, because again, they're not going to promote you the way that you would
even
want.
At the flea markets, they have extra promotions where they'll like, you know, announce your booth over the loudspeaker and be like, hey, check out booth 58 today, this is what they've got, you know. But even that is additional funds.
Or the other market we were at, they put an ad in the local newspaper, and they put ads on Facebook. So again, it still costs money, regardless of what you're doing. So like and subscribe. I hope everyone out there has a great day, and we'll see you guys tomorrow.
Thanks so much. Good luck to you guys out there.